Alright, hello, welcome to the first ever introduction to rules and traditions of this brand new sport that I invented off the top of my own head and decided to call it Minute Ball. The nomenclature will hopefully be clear soon, but basically, Minute Ball is going to be great fun. I can't wait to see it on ESPN 8, see my friends play it. It's going to be a great time. It's perfect for anyone. It's perfect for summer camps, for schoolyards, for collegiate organization, you know, activities, office place team building, or maybe one day even semi-professional professional leagues. So in essence, Minute Ball lives somewhere between the baseball and capture the flag universes. So in one sentence, a point of Minute Ball takes place over the span of a minute, and you win that point by doing one of two things. The first thing is to obtain your flag, your team's flag, and bring it back to base, or to get both opponents out and running back to base at the same time. Now, hopefully, these objectives will become more clear as we go on. But first, we're going to talk about some terms and the necessary equipment. So, there are basically, as we have in this key here, 5 components to Minute Ball. Minute Ball is strictly a 2v2 game. I have not considered any other team combinations. So until further notice, it's strictly 2v2. And we will be using color coding to discriminate between each team, the green team, the red team, and as we will learn, the key is neutral territory. But each team has 2 players represented by these smiley face emoticons. Each team has a home base of their color represented by a pentagon. Each team has dominion over 1 bomb, okay? And they are color-coded such. There's also a key, which is neutral possession. Also, each team has a flag, but at the beginning of each point, the flag is located with the opposing team's base. So, in terms of, I want this to be a flexible game, you can pretty much use whatever you can find that makes sense for anything. But for the base, I would just recommend some kind of physical object. It can be actually almost anything that won't move when left unattended. As long as it's a stationary object, it's pretty much good. I would recommend like one of those orange cones they use in soccer practice, something like that. Now, the flag, we'll skip to the end. The flag, I would actually recommend to be some kind of weighted ball. I think you could use one of these weighted exercise balls. Yeah, one of these things. Something just like, not these, that's a yoga ball. Something like this guy has here. Something heavy, a little bit cumbersome, because we don't want it to be too easy to move these things around the diamond. Now, funnily enough, we'll go next to the bombs. The bombs, I would almost strictly recommend using some kind of hacky sack item. Some kind of sack filled with hacky. If you're not familiar, okay, don't spell it like that. I like these. These are a bit more rugged. These are a bit too hipster. I could see those breaking easily, but these are pretty rugged. They're basically little balls made out of some kind of preferably durable material filled with some kind of hacky, like rice or beans, something like that. So it has a little bit of weight to it, but it's also malleable. But they're easy to throw, they're easy to pick up, and it's not dangerous to get struck by them. All right. So I would almost strictly recommend the bombs be hacky sacks. And the key, I would also just say should be a hacky sack, but that might cause confusion, honestly. The hacky sack should also be very visually distinct, very clear whose team they belong to. The key can also be pretty much anything. I would just recommend it be small and, easy to pick up, distinct. Don't make it like a kitchen knife or something. Okay. Also, in terms of the play area, I think it's pretty much just going to come down to this situation. I think if you have faster, more experienced players, you're going to want a larger dimensioned diamond. It's at the very least has to be a quadrilateral shape with the items positioned as such. The key in the center, the bombs to the right vertex of each team, and the base and the flags at the starting corners. I think hypothetically you could make it almost any quadrilateral and it would probably be fair. Although extreme shapes are definitely going to mess with strategy and the meta a little bit. So I recommend a uniform, regular diamond with 90-degree angles and same length faces. Same length sides, whatever they're called. All right. So I think that is pretty much clear. Okay. So let's learn more about the objective of the game. And in order to do that, I'm going to explain probably the most important function/rule in the game. And those are of the bombs and the keys. So we'll start with the flag. So, as you may remember, you can win a point by making it to your opponent's base, picking up your team's flag, and bringing it back to your base. So it'd be not like that, like this. If this happens, green team has scored a point. But the trick is, rule number 1, you're not allowed to pick up your team's flag unless you have in your possession the key or your team's bomb. So when you pick up your team's flag, you must replace where it was with the key or with your bomb. Okay, that's pretty simple. So you can't just run straight over here and pick it up. That's a no-no. You'd have to, for instance, run through the middle, pick up the key, bring it to the flag, leave it where the flag was, pick up the flag, and bring it back. Something, like that. It can also work with your team's bomb. You could run over here, bring it over here, replace where the flag was, pick your flag up, and bring it back to your base. And that would be a point scored, and you would essentially reset from there. Capiche? Okay. So, that being said, you may be wondering, what is the difference between the key and the bomb? Difference is that the bomb has an extra utility, being that the bomb of your team can be used to tag opposing players, either by throwing it at them and having the bomb hit them, or by just tagging them with it. Okay, now this brings a question. What happens if you're tagged? To be very stringent and clear, if you are in play and you make contact with the opposing team's bomb, you are in a new game state called being out. And if you are tagged, you are out, and your one and only action is running back to base. You are not permitted to do any other action until you touch your home base. Once you touch your home base, you are back in play. But between the time you make contact with the opposing team's bomb and you touch your own home base, you are out of play. You can't pick up anything. You can't tag anyone. You can't pick up the flag. You can't pick up your bomb. You can't pick up a key. If you are tagged while you are holding your flag or your bomb or the key, you have to drop it immediately. Drop it immediately. Drop it immediately. Drop it immediately. And run back to your home base and touch your home base. You can't just run within its vicinity and turn around like you're back in play like it's hunky-dory. You have to touch it, whether with your foot or your finger or your face or your torso, whatever, what have you. And then you will be back in play. All right. So, I think that's pretty clear. So to reiterate, the game's your goal, to grab your flag. Okay, to unlock your flag with the key or the bomb, leave the key or bomb there, bring your flag back home. If your flag touches your base before the other team's flag touches their base, you have won the point. And all the items will go back to where they appear on the map here, and another point will be played. The difference between the bomb and the key is anyone can touch the key without getting out. But if you touch your opponent's bomb, or they touch your bomb, you are respectively out and must run back and touch your base before resuming play. And also the bombs can be used to purposely tag your opponents out, either by throwing it at them and hitting them with it, or just running up to them and tagging them with it. But the key, anyone can touch it. If you are tagged out, you touch whatever you are holding, whether it be your bomb, the key, or your flag, and you have to run back and touch base before you can do anything else. Okay. So those are the basic rules. I think that's pretty clear. Now let's go over the big no-nos. Any big no-no committed will result in a penalty. A penalty, if a player receives a penalty, the opposing team is awarded the point and the game resets. So penalty actions include, let's see here. If you pick up the flag without leaving a key or the bomb in its place, that's a penalty, points over. If you pick up a key or a bomb or a flag after having been tagged and before touching your base, that is a penalty, point goes to the other team, and the point resets. What else? There's also the question of what happens if you throw a bomb out of the play area. Well, here's the trick. There pretty much is no play area. I mean, if you want to run over here, I guess you can, but there's just no reason to do that. But the only exception is if you, say, try to throw your bomb at this guy, but you're wearing an eye patch and you miss, it goes way over here, usually you can just come pick it up. But if you throw it out of play, for instance, if you throw it into a lake, if you throw it into an alligator's mouth, if you throw it into a bird's nest, if you throw it into a bonfire, if you throw it in someone's lap, then it is out of play. And whoever threw the bomb that went out of play, their opponents get the point. Okay, and that's just going to have to be determined situationally, given the context. Okay, so that moves us on to scoring. So this game is pretty flexible, pretty adaptable. You can play it a lot of different ways depending on the players and the situation. But my recommendation for a standardized format would be 3 rounds of first to 7. So you play back and forth, each team scoring points, and whoever gets to 7 points first wins that round. You do that 3 times, and whoever wins 2 out of 3 rounds wins the whole game. So first that's like 13, that's like 39 potential points per game. And if you get breaks in between the rounds, that could be up to like an hour-long game, and that's a pretty entertaining amount of time. Okay. So that's all I can think of off the top of my head. So now I'm going to talk a little bit. I don't think this game has ever been played in real life before. So unless I've just invented a game that already existed, which is likely. It's not the most creative game ever. But there, to my knowledge, has been no opportunity for strategies or meta to unfold organically. But I can hypothesize and postulate some strategies that could happen. And maybe talking over these strategies will give you a better idea of what a fluid point of minute ball. Oh my god, I forgot why it's called minute ball. Each point has a 1 minute timer. Oh my god, I forgot about the other thing too. Okay. Whoops. Okay, the second condition to scoring a point is if you get both opponents walking out. If you tag both opponents out and have them walking back to base at the same time, then you win the point. So if this guy gets tagged, say he threw it at him, and he's walking back, and then this guy runs and throws it at this guy and tags him before this guy reaches base, so they're both in the process of walking back to base to tag back in, then the red team has lost that point and the green team has won that point, and you reset from there. And also it's called minute ball because each point is under a 1 minute time constriction. If play on the field elapses 1 minute without either team legally scoring a point, then the point is over and it resets from there. I might have to rethink that rule because I feel that might lead to a lot of stalemates. Who knows? But only real playtesting will tell. But anyway, speaking of strategy, the reason I felt the minute rule was necessary was to maybe help prevent maybe the most obvious strategy, and that would be some kind of camping. So let's say we'll get there later, but okay, let's say the game starts. What are the most instinctive strategies? So the shortest path to get your flag is right down the middle, grab the key, and keep going to your flag. But if both teams do this essentially becomes a foot race. And whoever gets to the key first, their team now has a huge advantage. So let's say green team gets the key first and he keeps running. I mean, this guy can't do anything because he ran to the middle and he doesn't have a bomb to tag green out. But let's say while they're running there, the other red player was running towards his bomb and the other green player was running towards his bomb. I think this is a pretty sensical play. I think this is how most people would instinctively play the game. Okay, so if green player 1 has the key, he's going to keep running towards his flag. Let's say he's there by the time this red guy, each of his teammates get the bomb. Okay, so, you know, this guy has the bomb. His opponent has a key heading straight towards his flag. He has two choices. He can either see, it's a very complex game. He can either have his teammate, he could play aggressive and just ignore this guy, have his teammate run towards the flag, pass him the bomb so his teammate can pick up their flag while essentially allowing the green player to get his flag. And it's a flag versus flag situation, but the green team definitely has the advantage because he has been here with his bomb the whole time. So now he's going to be able to very easily tag out red, and red is pretty much defenseless. So yeah. So that's pretty much a bad strategy. Okay, so let's restart that from the top. Let's play out that scenario again. Pretty much start of the game. So let's again say green gets the key first. You know, the other secondary players are approaching their bombs. This red player is just caught in the middle of the nowhere. Okay, so by the time green gets a little closer down here, let's just say red plays aggressive towards his flag, and then both of the secondary players get their bomb. Okay, so let's say red throws the bomb and successfully tags green. So now the bomb is there. Green is going to have to drop the key here closer to his flag, and he's going to have to run right back. He's going to have to start running back to base. In the meantime, okay, see, okay, he starts running back to base. So now his teammate has a choice. He could either use his bomb to get somebody, one of his opponents out, and then run and pick up the key on the way, which is going to be a little bit longer and slower of a path than just taking the bomb and running directly over here. But I would think probably the best course of action would be to try to tag out. See, because this player is a little more of an offensive threat because he's closer to the flag. But I think this player is more of a threat in general because he's a little bit closer to their bomb. And this guy's not even going to be able to pick up his flag without the bomb. So I think this guy should try to go for the long shot and tag this player out. But let's say, since this is a long shot, let's say he misses. And and now his bomb is way out here. So now, just from missing that shot, now the red team is pretty much up. Because let's say both of these players are probably just camping out down here, because this player is going to be waiting for his teammate to throw either the key, probably throw the key over to him, and this guy's going to be waiting for his teammate to... Actually, this guy's probably going to be running over here to retrieve this bomb. And this guy's just going to be camping his flag, waiting for his teammate to pass the key or the bomb. Okay, now this guy is going to be wanting to book it to the key at all costs. I think if he misses the key, he's kind of over. And I think this guy's just going to want to be booking it to his bomb. Because if he gets the bomb, if he gets to the bomb before this guy gets to the key, he's going to be able to tag him out pretty easily. So let's say that happens. Let's say, I mean, even if they get to the key and the bomb respectively at the same time, this guy's basically tagged out. He's going to have to drop the key, start running back. In the meantime, this guy's probably going to want to throw, I'd say, the key over to his teammate. But oh my god, I totally forgot about this guy. I mean, now this guy's pretty much at the bomb. You know, maybe before he even has time to throw the key, he's got to choose who to tag out. I think he should definitely try to tag out this guy, because that's going to keep him out the longest. Alright. So you know, maybe the big brain play here is to just let his teammate get tagged out here, because now the bomb's over here, and I would actually maybe just grab his bomb. I don't know, tag out that guy here. Nah, but that's not going to work, because he's just going to come touch base and get his bomb back before this guy can even make it down here with the key. But I don't know, we're getting pretty complex here. The decision tree is getting pretty wide, but I think that's basically just an example. But I mean, you can see the goal is not as easy as it seems. I think pretty much as soon as someone misses a throw on the bomb, stuff's gonna get crazy. But I mean, let's just explore an alternate strategy, because I think the strategies are going to come kind of rock, paper, scissors, and the first move each team makes are going to interact with each other and have very dire consequences. So what could some alternate strategies be? Let's think of counter strategies to the main strategy. The main strategy being have a scoring player and a defensive player. Scoring player doing the foot race to the key, and a defensive player running to get the bomb. Okay, what if you know your opponent is going to do that? You know, what counter play could you do to anticipate that? You know, what could be good is to actually just keep one teammate pretty much camping over here and have the other teammate get the bomb. Because then, see, by the time he's here, and he's here, you know, running in between two opponents who have a bomb is pretty much a death trap. Because even if he makes this long shot and misses it, his teammate's probably just going to catch it and have a very good chance of tagging him out before he can even pick up the bomb. But also, you know, in this situation, we're also going to have his teammate over here with his bomb, and he's going to be ready to tag this guy out, but tagging him out on his turf is actually pretty weak here, because he's going to be able to touch base so quickly, and his bomb is still going to be here, and he's going to be able to send his teammate home. So this guy with the bomb, see, I guess I hadn't really considered camping your own base, because I mean, what does red team do here? Like, say, even like all the way back here. know what? I don't know. Maybe that's something for you to chew on at home. But I think I've probably been recording for like an hour. Let's see if I forgot anything. I mean, the rest of the rules can be pretty much conferred or called in the moment. I mean, like, there's obvious stuff like if you pick up your flag and then you drop it, I would say, I think if you drop it, you don't have to go touch base again, but you do have to go find your bomb or your key before you can pick it up again. So you can only pick up flags if you replace it with the bomb or the key. And I would say, in terms of replacement, the bomb or key has to be placed very close to the flag, and it has to touch the ground before you can pick up the flag. So, I mean, you can't do some crap where this guy throws it and then you like pick it up and are running over here by the time it lands here. That's going to be a penalty. All right. So, it's a very dynamic game, almost probably to a fault. I mean, if there's some poor kids playing at a summer camp and, you know, there's a clear genetic imbalance between speed and agility and strength and hand-eye coordination. I mean, these poor green kids, there's probably going to be a red kid run down here, get the key, grab his flag before the green kid is even like over here to his freaking bomb. And you know, like, it's just gonna be lopsided. So definitely gonna want to look into the matchups for this, but I don't know. Other than that, to be continued. So thank you to everyone. I don't think a single person on the planet actually watched this whole video through, because this is like an hour-long video.